Hey guys, this is Dr. Owen, and in today's video, I just want to highlight some of the features that you may be using to get started with using Quill as a grammar tool within your classrooms. Quill is going to be really exciting in terms of how it can supplement our spiral review instruction that you may already be doing, as well as our upcoming mentor sentence instruction and looking at good, solid sentences and supplementing that instruction with a concrete grammar practice. Before I log in, I just want to highlight some of the learning tools here that we're going to look at. If I hover over the Learning Tools tab at the top, you can see we have something called Quill Connect. That's going to be an assignment where kids are actually going to be working on revising sentences and putting sentences together, which we know is a really big skill in terms of the types of questions that are asked on the milestones. Something else I want to highlight, the Quill Diagnostic. This is actually going to be the first thing that we assign, and it's a diagnostic that will unlock some really good differentiation tools for our kids. Quill Proofreader is going to be a more traditional proofreader where students have, like a paragraph, and they have to go through and correct some mistakes. Quill Grammar is probably going to be your top tool. There it is, Quill Grammar. And I call this the puzzle piece. And this is where you can assign some very, very targeted lessons that are standards-based, where students are practicing their basic grammar mechanics and they're having to input that with their keyboarding skills. Okay, I'm going to come up here to log in because I already have my account set up. And at this point, hopefully you do too. Remember, we're going to log in with Google. It's super easy. Okay, and there's my RCS email. I'm going to click on that. All right, and it should ask you if you want to import from Google Classroom. All right, and you just want to give that access. Okay. And now my dashboard may look a little bit different from yours because I've got some school level features, but for the most part, I've got some of the same things that you've got. I want to show you my classes where I've set those up first. All right, so if I click on classes, you'll see here that I've set up just 2 demo classes this morning and looking at that. And if you look at the top where you can import from Google Classroom, if I were to click that, if I had Google Classroom set up with actual students, you can see that it would actually pull in those students and those rosters. Since I don't have that, that's not an option. So I've created by hand some demo classes here. If I click on, and I've just given it like 7th and 8th grade just to kind of give it a label. If I click on my 1-2 block, you'll see that I've got 6 students added to that class: Rachel, Monica, Ross, Chandler, Phoebe, and Joey. When we're in this dashboard, something I wanted to show you, if I click over, for example, for Rachel on the Actions menu on the side, you've got some options here that you may not have to use since we're going to be importing a lot of ours from Google Classroom unless you opt to create your classes by hand. I can edit their account. I could reset their password. Merge accounts if a student, for some reason, created a duplicate account. The 2 that you would probably use if you maybe were working with Google Classroom, maybe move from class or remove from class altogether if a student had some type of schedule change or withdrew from school. Okay. All right. And I'm going to just kind of close this menu out for just a second. And there we go. So let's say I want to assign some activities to my class that I've got set up here. All right, I'm going to come up to the Assign Activities tab. All right, and like I said, we want to start with the diagnostic. Okay, so you can see we've got a lot of different types of activities. We've got the entry diagnostics. We've got activity packs that have already been put together by the Quill team. We've got where we can actually search and look at all of our activities. Okay, and then I've got where I can search activities by tool. We're going to look at this in just a moment, but I want to look at the entry diagnostic option. When I click on that, there it is. Quill has done something really exciting from when I first started using this as a grammar supplementary tool for my grammar instruction. You'll notice that they have 3 different types of just basic English language diagnostics for just our regular students. But then also they've got an ELL diagnostic. So that's a really exciting differentiation piece of the puzzle for some of our EL kids that are in both of our inclusion classes and maybe even in the new to country classes as well. What I think is really exciting about this is that Quill used to only have 1 entry diagnostic and then 1 ELL diagnostic, and they've actually split that basic entry diagnostic into a starter level, an intermediate level, and an advanced level. So that just gives us a better opportunity to target where our kids are truly at with their grammar. A good portion of our kids are probably going to be at the starter level, but we may have some that are ready for intermediate, and we may have that select handful who are ready for the advanced diagnostic. Okay, I'm just going to click on starter. And when I click on that, it's going to give me an option to preview or to continue to assign. I'm just going to go ahead and assign it to my class. Now, my 1-2 block, since that's where my students are at, I have some options here. I can assign it to the whole class by checking that box, and you'll notice that all 6 of my kids will get it. Okay, if I uncheck that, though, I can actually hand select by student, and that's what I'm going to do today, just to kind of show you guys what this looks like. I'm going to give it to everybody but Joey. Okay, when I click Save and Assign, all right, it says I've successfully assigned it. I can view that on my activity pack dashboard option. All right, and you'll see here, okay, that it has been assigned 5 out of 6 students. It looks like, too, that previously I assigned a conjunction pack. Ideally, we want to start with a starter diagnostic and then get into packs, but just for demo purposes, I had this a little bit backwards, okay? You'll notice I assigned it to 5 out of 6 students. All right, I want to assign the ELL diagnostic to Joey. So I'm actually going to come back to assign activities at the top, and I'm going to go back to diagnostic, and I'm just going to repeat those steps for the ELL diagnostic. Continue to assign, and I'm going to select by student again, and I know that Joey needs that one because he is Italian, right? All right, and if I go back to view assigned activity packs on my dashboard, all right, you'll see that on my dashboard, I've got both diagnostics here, but then it actually says 5 out of 6 students, 1 out of 6 students, and I have the option to edit that if I want to. Again, you can add, edit the due date here. You can edit the name if you wanted to. Diagnostic, you don't really have to do much. Let's say that we want to create an activity pack here. Okay, let's say in our spiral review that we have been really hitting nouns very hard because our kids just have some issues with just knowing their basic common and proper nouns. Okay, and I'm just using this as a very basic example. I'm going to come back to assign activities. Okay. And I'm actually going to come down to the bottom. I think it's really powerful when you as teachers can create your own activity pack, because then you can really target exactly what lessons you're seeing your kids need based on what they're doing in class, based on their writing, based on spiral review. Like I said, the Quill Grammar is going to be a really great tool for us. So I'm going to click on that. Okay. And when I'm on Quill Grammar, okay, you can see I've got some search options here. Okay, so I'm just going to type in nouns. All right, and you'll notice all of a sudden at the bottom, I've got several different options here. I've got common and proper, possessive, form use, and possessives, form and use possessive, sorry. You can see there's some ones with plural and maybe some irregular plurals here. Okay, want to show you this. If I, for example, common and proper nouns, if I use my cursor and hover over the title of the activity and just hold it there for just a second, you'll notice that it actually shows what the standard target for this lesson is. So you'll notice this is a pretty basic lesson. This is a first grade lesson. Okay. Some of our kids may be at this place, but some of our kids may not. So just keep that in mind as you're assigning lessons and how you might differentiate. It also gives a quick little rundown of what students are going to be doing during the lesson. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's look at another one. Let's look at these versus those. That's actually pronouns. Let me come back up. Let's look at collective nouns. This is a good one. Okay, that one you could tell is second grade. Okay, singular possessive third grade. Okay, so you can see we've got a lot of options here. All right, let's say I just want to see, what one of these lessons actually looks like from the angle of a student. So if I click on, for example, singular possessive nouns. Okay, if I click on that, it's going to open a window for me to just kind of play around with it a little bit as an instructor. All right. So this is the student view. This is what it's actually going to look like as they are completing the activity. You can see here, since completed, 0 out of 10. If I had the example, okay, this is the basic lesson and the basic work the students are going to be doing. So you'll see I found Ellie's lost backpack. Okay, students are actually going to have to input their answer. Okay, lost backpack. Okay, if I type it correctly, press check the work. Okay, well done. Okay, I can move on to the next question. All right. All right, this is a really funky one here. So, maybe, the student types it in, James lost cat. Okay, I'm intentionally getting this incorrect on purpose. If I check work and it's incorrect, you can see I get a second chance to correct that. And I see, okay, yeah, I need to add the apostrophe S to show possession. Got it right. Okay. All right, maybe I get the answer right, but maybe I've got some typographical errors. So let's just pretend like I typed this one incorrectly. Friend's birthday card. And again, this is a 3rd grade lesson, so the sentences are pretty easy. All right, I've got this typo here. Let's see what happens when I press check work, okay? It actually will tell kids that there's a spelling mistake, and it forces them to go back and reread what they've written. They catch it. Let's say I type it instead of she wrote, I put she write, just hit the wrong button again, okay? You can see here that now I've potentially missed this question because of not paying attention to detail, okay? All right, let's say as I'm working on this, I'm really stuck and I need just a quick little mini lesson and a refresher, just some clues to help me out. Students can press show example, okay? And you can see here that it gives a quick little rundown and just some quick little examples that they can refer back to while they're working in the lower portion of the screen, okay? That just gives you an idea of what this looks like, all right? So, just for fun, let's just say I want to assign like a noun pack, okay? And again, you can filter by level and by concept, okay? Filter by level. I could actually do, let's do, for whatever reason, there's no 5th grade on this particular on nouns. If I want to do 6th grade, for example, you can see I've got some more higher level questions, 4th grade. I'll look at all sections, maybe go back to 4th grade. You can see where it filters out some of these are actually pronoun lessons, okay? Back to all sections, okay? Let's just say I want to create a noun pack, okay? I'm going to do common and proper, possessives. Okay, I notice that in my kids' writing, maybe they're really struggling, again, with those singular possessives, okay? And so I've got 3 lessons that I've chosen, okay? You can see if I scroll all the way to the bottom, there are my draft picks, and press continue. All right, I can name my activity pack. I'm going to always call it nouns, and I always like to put the whatever the week was. That way kids kind of have that accountability piece. Okay, so I could put week of 9/9/19. Okay. All right, and I can assign this. I'm going to assign that to my entire 1st and 2nd block. And I can put an optional due date here. So, if I wanted to put an optional due date, I can put that due on Friday. Maybe I want them to do 1 lesson this week, but maybe I'm going to have 2 due next week on the 20th. I can press assign. Okay, and there we go. Now I've got this activity pack on the dashboard. Okay, so you see that their dashboard has a plethora of activities that they can continue working towards. Okay, and just one more quick thing I want to highlight with assign activities. All right, and coming back down to the bottom, the Quill Connect and the Quill Proofreader, those are 2 other really great options. The Quill lessons, those are more direct lessons where you can assign it to students, but then you're actually coaching them through. This might be a really good option for our Tier 2 instruction at the small group at the table. Let's look at Quill Connect for just a second, because again, this is those combining of sentences. That's a big skill that students need to have in terms of the milestones and Common Core. And again, it looks very, very similar to our other dashboard. Okay, so let's say I want to do, you can see it's already pulled some. Let's say I want to pull some adjectives. Let's try something a little different. Okay, so you can see here I've got adverbs, and I've also got some adjectives here. Again, if I hover over, I can see this is a 7th grade lesson, okay? Let's just look and see what this one looks like. Okay. So you can see combine the sentences together into 1 sentence. You may add or remove words. There is often more than 1 correct answer. What this is going to do is really help students read sentences critically and then combine them in the most succinct way, which we know putting things into highly summarized and very succinct writing is something that many of our students really struggle with. All right, and it's got some very, very basic examples here. Quick little mini lesson that kids can read through. All right, start lesson. All right, she wears a dress. It is a wedding dress. The dress is beautiful. Okay, if I wanted to combine these, I might say she wears a beautiful wedding dress. All right, you can tell I have taken several pieces of the sentence and combined them together. Okay, that's a strong sentence. All right. So it teaches our kids to really read critically, and how can I put some of these adjectives together so I'm not being so choppy and wordy with my writing. Okay. And then it also gives them some other options. Okay. Beautiful wedding dress, which is what I had. Okay. I could say they wave the large flag, and it is a Canadian flag. So you can see that one is not quite as succinct, but I have combined the sentences into one compound sentence. Okay, and it doesn't really like this one as much. Okay, so it gives me a hint. Okay, put the words Canadian and large right before the thing they describe. Okay, so it wants me to come back. Okay, they wave a large Canadian flag. Okay, and for whatever reason, it's still here. It doesn't want me to use the comma. Okay, that's a strong sentence. Okay, so that's a good example of how it helps them put sentences together. All right. Again, I can just, I'm just, picking just a couple of these. Okay, cumulative adjective starter pack. Okay, so we can say, maybe this is for next week. So week of whatever next week is, 19th. Okay. And I can assign it again and assign. Okay. All right. So that's kind of the rundown on how to create assignments and create packs. And again, you might think about how you want to use this. If you want to assign, packs that maybe you would use for homework. Students, might have 2 weeks to do a couple of lessons, have 1 week to do a couple of lessons. It can be used as a bell ringer. It can be used, as an extension activity for sure. Even in homeroom time, students are coming in. That's a great time once we get the Chromebooks rolled out to, for them to work on their Quill lessons. Okay. What I'm going to do next in the next video is I'm going to show you how to kind of break down some of the reports and look at the results of some of these. Okay. Good luck.